Alright, hello, welcome to another fantastic video. Timus the Fox with Tea Time with Timus. A lot of things here that we gotta talk about. One is that the green screen is no longer a thing, and reason being was that it just didn't work out, and just a green screen I got. So I'm probably not going to have a green screen for my video, so that's the unfortunate side of it. But with that out of the way, today's video is going to be more about your persona. Now, what do I mean by that? Obviously, your persona is what makes you you in the fandom, but I think there's a little bit more to it than just that, and we're going to talk about that today. So, yeah, I want to start it off by saying no matter what species you choose, no matter what kind of color scheme they might have, it's your special identity. It's what makes you. And there's people out there who will say that persona is not good like that or whatever. Just don't listen to them. Your persona is basically your animal identity, but it's more than that. It's what you are, I feel. So we're going to talk about that in the video. But anyway, let's get right onto it. Okay, so let me start with the definition of a persona, because I feel like if we can have a rough description of what a persona is, I think that'd be great. For those of you who are just getting into the fandom, who are just starting out, basically you probably don't even have a persona yet. You're considering it. This video is probably going to be for you. So just to start off, a persona, and this is according to Wikipedia, a persona is personally claimed persona resembling an anthropomorphic animal adopted by a member of the furry fandom. Personas provide numerous roles for the creator. So, yeah, I like this article because it sort of shows more or less of what a persona should be, but more of like what your persona can basically be on all forms of media. Now, this is my persona. Timus the Fox is my persona, and I have other personas too. I don't really I'm not really active with them, but I do have other personas. But this character that you see here is my persona. This is who I am in the furry fandom, and this is what people know who I am, who I have known for years. So, basically, a persona is your identity. It's like I said before, it's your identity, and yeah. So once you sort of understand that, I think you can make the next step in trying to figure out like what your persona can be, because it's a long process, okay? And it took me a while to figure out who I wanted to be in the fandom. I've been in the fandom since 2006, 2007, but I did not make my first persona, which is Timus, until 2016. So 10 years after I actually was in the fandom. So that's pretty bollocks, just to really understand that. But anyway, so that's the persona. That's like the general outline of what a persona is. There are numerous personas out there, as you can see, all of different shapes and sizes and species, and a lot of them can be very unique, and it's not wrong to be unique in this fandom. I just want to make it out there. Such as this persona. As you can see, the persona can have an age. Typically personas will be, their age will depend on like the age of the actual creator. That might not always be the case, but that's typically how it goes. Pronouns, obviously. It can include their sexual orientation. It doesn't have to, but it can also obviously include the species as well. Hopefully, I don't think that's safe for work. So like this, for example, as you can see here, Another Fursona shows you that they're, I don't want to get this wrong. I assume they're female, because that's what the sign is, so I think it's female. But yeah, you can see like the different color schemes that sort of make this character. So it makes them unique from other Fursonas that are similar to the species. Some Fursonas don't have to have a color scheme that's I wouldn't say over the top, but they can have like 1, 2, or 3 simple color schemes going on that makes them stand out. So I just want to say this. Okay, let me go back. I just want to say this because when I was designing Timus, I was going for less markings, less color scheme than other Fursonas because I feel like the simpler I designed Timus, I feel like it was better more in the long term. And that's just my personal preference. I don't typically like Fursonas that are too bright or too many colors on them, that it becomes distracting. But of course, I'm not saying you should avoid those, because that would be gatekeeping and I do not want to gatekeep. But yeah, it's just like a personal preference, just standing out there. Yeah, so one example of a Fursona having a lot of colors, which is totally fine, as I've stated, is probably something like this. And you can see that there's what is that? Certain symbols, a lot going on here, obviously, but this is an example of a character with several colors going on. Trying to find another example. It's not many. I'm surprised, but you probably get the gist. You probably get the idea. Yeah. So if you are trying to make your Fursona, this would probably be the best course of action for you, is to get a Fursona base. You can sometimes download it for free. You can find them on Fur Affinity, DeviantArt, but make sure that if you're going to do this, if you're going to download a first Fursona base to sort of design your character, make sure that you have consent from the artist before you do so, because they might not be happy that you took the base without paying them, because some artists do pay for you to use their base, but you know, yeah. So what I did with Timus is that I designed him myself. So I didn't really, and this is him right here, I didn't really pay anybody to design Timus. This is the very first reference sheet of Timus the Fox. This was when I designed him back in 2016, when I was coming up with him. And basically I said, well, I love foxes. Foxes are one of my favorite animals, if not my favorite. So I was going to make my Fursona a fox. So that was the first step in making my Fursona. The second thing was to figure out whether I wanted to have natural colors or unnatural colors. So Timus obviously has more natural colors. So his color scheme is very similar to that of a real life fox, albeit with some differences, obviously. His fur pattern is, I would say, more saturated, a little more saturated than real life foxes. Plus, his fur is not really red; it's more brownish. Plus, his markings are a little less natural. Obviously, the most striking of Timus would be his fur markings, which I took inspiration from sort of the New Zealand Maori culture. So a lot of that was more tribal on my end for Timus. But when I was designing Timus, I said, well, the less I have of him, the more of a picture I can have. So I didn't really go crazy with the color scheme or markings. So I thought it was perfect this way. And this took me days, okay? Like, let me get that out. It took me a while to design Timus. This wasn't like I sat down for an hour and I said, okay, that's it, like, that's done. It took me a while to sort of figure out what Timus was going to be. like what this was gonna be. Okay, so it did take a while for that, for sure. A few years went by, and I did update Timus's design. So if you notice from the earlier ref sheet, his markings are slightly different. So I updated them a bit. I got rid of that third line, as you see there, and I felt like that looked much better than what it was before. And when you actually see my fursuit, you'll notice that this ref sheet right here, that is what Timus is today. So this is like the official, like, complete ref sheet for Timus. This is what my fursuit looks like. So yeah, it took a while to sort of like, I wouldn't say perfect Timus, but definitely find what works out for him. So it might take a while for you to sort of figure that out when you're making your Fursona. I like to think that if you're going to make your Fursona, you want to make it how you want to make it. You shouldn't let outside influences affect your creative process. And I get it. Some of us might not be able to make their own Fursona. Sometimes we can't figure out how to make a Fursona. So what you can do if you're just starting out in the fandom is probably find an artist and say, can you help me make a Fursona? And they will help you. Most artists will create a Fursona for you, and you can give them a general idea. I want a tiger with stripes, but the stripes, I want them to be rainbow colored. I took inspiration from like a Neopet, for example. So then the artist might come up with a character that's kind of like a Neopet, but not exactly. There's a tiger with rainbow stripes and here and that. And you can do that. That's fine. I feel like that might paint a bigger picture for you if you want to go down that route. So, yeah. What else? What else do we have? Let's see. So yeah, that's Timus. That's the official Timus Ref Sheet. So yeah, you can find a Fursona base online. Just make sure that you make sure they're free to use before you actually go and use them. And obviously there's different species, so like I can look up fox, and they'll find fox for me. If I want to be a wolf, also there's faces for wolves. What about tiger? Oh, cat would probably be a better search. Right here, you see, there's one for a cat. Bird. Right there, you see. Dragon's a very popular one of the most popular species in the fandom. Right there, you have Dutch Angel Dragon, you have just a regular dragon, so stuff like that. So you can find that online, a lot of them. So something very important that I want to bring up, okay? Because this actually struck me for a long time in the fandom. Is your Fursona protected by copyright? Is Timus actually free to use, right? If an animator were to use my likeness in a video, are they allowed to? If someone were to copy my character, is it protected under law? And can people actually use it? Well, that's a very interesting question, because I'll be the first to say, and I don't think any furry in the fandom has actually talked about this, but maybe they have, but your character is you, okay? And they can argue this in court. They'll say that your Fursona is not a copyright character because your Fursona is a reflection of you. So typically, that means it's a person. But you also created that Fursona. You had it based on something, and it is, I wouldn't say it's fictional, but it is definitely in the realm of a Creative Commons. So, under that license, at least. So it's really difficult to say just what laws there are for a Fursona. I can't really say for sure. I will say that if someone is going to use your persona in a work, they should probably ask you, because yeah, it is your character at the end of the day. And yes, there will be people to say that, oh, my persona is me, and that's what I am. At the end of the day, it is a character, and they might use it in media, in other media. So that's something to look out for with that. So I don't know, but that's kind of like how I see it. Yeah, I mean, it's really tough. But anyway, let me see. What else can we talk about? What else can we talk about? Not really anything. I mean, I have to think about it. I really have to think about it, because if we're gonna really talk about a persona, we have to talk about, like, do you want a fursuit? Do you not want a fursuit? Are you okay with just having an online presence and that's it? I don't think it matters, because being a persona can be anything, honestly. And I think that's the beauty of having a persona, is that you don't need to have it just like as a fursuit or anything. It can be it can be your identity, and that's it. It can be a complicated color scheme. It can be a very simple color scheme like Timus. It can be a fox. It can be a dragon. It can be whatever you want it to be. It can be a completely different gender. It can be any gender. It can be anything you want. And I think that's what's great about a persona, is that it can be whatever you want it to be. So yeah, I think it's a very short video, as you can see, but yeah, it's a very short video, but I think we'll end it there. So I hope you all enjoyed, and if you haven't already, take a look at my recent video, the Canada video. It's a lot I talk about. It's 58 minutes long, and I talk about my recent trip to Canada. So yeah, if you want to see me ramble on about my experiences in the Great White North, go ahead. It's pretty entertaining. I love Canada. I mean, if I could live in Canada, that would be like the dream, probably. Some people don't think so, but I think so. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to end the video now, and I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Mwah, take care, and remember, if you're just starting out in the fandom, it's okay. Take your time, because being in the fandom is a wonderful experience, in my opinion. So take care, and have a great day. Okay, bye everyone. Bye.